Hey everyone. Ooh, let me turn this down. There's a bit of an echo. Let's do that. Hello? Let me know if you hear an echo. Okay. All right. So I said that I would come back and continue to do a little bit more crafting because I wanted to actually finish everything. So I'm going to clear my craft table and I'll assume that at least one person will join at some point, which is totally fine. Truth be told, I would do this alone, so that's totally cool. If you are listening, please let me know if you hear an echo. I hear an echo, so there is one. Let me see if I can. I don't know if that helps, but it is what it is. All right. The reason why I wanted to pause was because I've been on for a really long time, but also because I wanted to find my sticker set for the Fuckathon. So these stickers were created by Brittany of Melanin Eclectic, and they have stickers that you can use to identify each of the prompts that you've read for. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my approach to readathons, given the fact that I am a slow reader. But as I do that, I'm also going to clean up my workspace so that I can do part 2. So if you're here, please feel free to leave a comment. You're free to ask any questions about what I'm doing. You can ask questions about my hiatus. You can ask questions about the books that I'm reading. As you'll see from the title, I am also going to be providing a bit of a wrap-up casual review of 4 books that I've read in the first quarter of the year. Okay, so the first topic that I want to talk about is being a slow reader doing readathons. So as you'll know, if you are familiar with BookTube, readathons are they are literary events that we have in the BookTube community that are geared towards encouraging readers to read certain kinds of books. So a readathon that's on right now is the Fuckathon. That readathon was created by Andrea, and it is a readathon that's designed to encourage us to read books that move us more towards an anti-oppression mind space and orientation. So many of the prompts in the readathon ask us to fuck something. So fuck colonialism, fuck land borders, fuck fat phobia, fuck yourself, fuck Highlander misogyny, fuck with polyamory, fuck gender binary. So there are some things to fuck and some things to fuck with. And so I think this is her 3rd year of the Fuckathon, and this year is pretty special because in addition to all of the amazing prompts that she does every year and all of the great recommendations that she provides, Andrea has also collaborated with Brittany over at Melanin Eclectic to create some amazing merchandise. And I don't have it on me right now. Oh, I do have something on me right now, but I don't have everything. So this is the t-shirt. I'll stand up. You can see it. Whoops. So that's the t-shirt for the Fuckathon. That is Kung Pop. And so it's pretty cool that if you want to like celebrate the Fuckathon by actually wearing the stuff, you can totally do that. I ordered sweatpants, sweatshirt, t-shirt, like I'm gonna be adorned in Fun stuff through Melon Eclectic, which is awesome. There's also, as I showed you, these stickers that you can use in your reading planner that I'm going to use. I just didn't have them on me when I was doing part 1 of this video, so I'm going to be using them now. And then also there are these large form stickers. There's also bookmarks, socks, all sorts of things. So this is a large form sticker that I'm also going to use as well. So now that I have a little bit of a clearer workspace, I'm going to get started. So the first topic is, and again, if you're here, please say hello in the comments. Okay, so the first topic that I wanted to talk about was participating in readathons as a slow reader. This is something that I've talked about before. As a slow reader, not only do slow reading is, you know, kind of a fact of life for people who have responsibilities outside of reading that make it difficult for them to actually read. So that might be life priorities, that might be a job, that might be circumstances where you are not able to, like physically and cognitively able to multitask by listening to books while doing other things. But there is such thing as the slow movement. And the slow movement is, it's a fairly old movement, and you might have come across concepts like slow cooking or slow, what's the other thing? I've seen slow cooking, the slow education movement as well. The slow movement is really a movement that is designed to encourage people to think, to be more purposeful about how they approach things in life, because you can often get a lot more meaning out of things when you can get a lot of meaning out of things when you approach things slowly, and when you give yourself enough time to contemplate and to learn passively. That's it. So I'll give you an example. So right now I'm reading Master of Poisons, and this is a 500-page book by Andrea Hairston. And it's a wonderful, wonderful book. I am, so far, I'm sure it's going to remain wonderful, wonderful. But what happens for me when I leave a few days, sometimes a week, in between one chapter and another, and I start to just let my mind wander about a particular book, I end up learning things about the book and realizing things about what I'm reading. So that is something that I would just say is a benefit of slow reading, is you actually get time. You're actually not even getting time, you're creating time to be mindful about your reading and to allow thoughts to come into your mind with empty space, right? You're not listening, you're not actually running your eyes over the words or anything like that. You're able to contemplate and then return to the story in, with time and with space. And sometimes when your mind gets to meander, you start noticing things in your literary or imaginative periphery that you might not have noticed had you been running through a book super quickly or just trying to get to the next thing. So when and I will get to your question, Darklum, so nice to see you. One of the things that's really interesting about readathons is that many readathons are designed to be completed fairly quickly. So maybe a 2-week period or a 3-week period, and you've got a number of prompts, maybe 8, 10, 15 prompts that you're trying to accomplish. And for somebody who reads very slowly, very deliberately, very contemplatively, it can be really hard to do that, to read more than one book in 2 weeks or 1 week, and certainly to do that mindfully. That's definitely a challenge that I have in my own life, and it's also kind of unpredictable when I'll have time to read and when I won't, right? So that is that's a challenge. So I've come to readathons because obviously for me, my options were participate in them or not. And if I did participate in them, I had to think, well, how can I participate in a readathon in a way that works for my approach to reading and my approach to books? And so the way that I do that now is that instead of like looking at all the prompts and being like, okay, there are 9 prompts and I need to figure out like how I'm going to meet each of these prompts. Like instead of doing it that way, what I've done is I've decided on a book that I think will actually work for one or more of the prompts. And then I read that book and then I try to figure out, okay, how many prompts have I been able to satisfy by reading this particular book? So it's a bit of a backwards way. It's not exactly prompt first. So I am going to create a page in my planner that is going to allow me to reflect on the books that I've chosen for the Fuckathon and to think about the extent to which they have met the prompts. So I'm going to use probably the medium-sized sticker. There are 4 different sizes, which is awesome. I'm going to use this one, and but first I'm going to stamp colors on the page, because if you've been watching this series for today, you'll know that I'm deriving a lot of pleasure from putting colors on the page. So that's what I'm going to do first. Now I'm going to get to your question, Darlcom. You'd love some grown woman sci-fi recommendations in the vein of N.K. Jemisin and Octavia Butler, if you can, and greetings from Kampala, Uganda. So first of all, hi, nice to see you, and thank you for asking. I have some questions for you because I actually take the provision of recommendations pretty seriously. So I would love to know a little bit more about what you mean when you say grown woman sci-fi recommendations. So I'm assuming that you are interested in adult science fiction. But when you say grown woman, what are you really interested in? So adult sci-fi, female protagonist, is that sort of where we're headed? And you said in the vein of N.K. Jemisin. So if you can tell me, what is it that you like about N.K. Jemisin? Because there are lots of different moods that you can kind of get in science fiction, right? Grown woman or not. So what do you like about N.K. Jemisin? Are you into N.K. Jemisin's epics, like The Broken Earth or The Broken Kingdoms? Or are you kind of interested in like the shorts that you've read, like the variety of speculative science fiction work? And what do you enjoy about science fiction? Like what kinds of science fiction do you like? So if you tell me some of that stuff, I can probably give you a few recommendations. I'd be happy to. And if anybody else is interested in recommendations or has questions about them, I'd be happy to answer your questions for sure. Now is definitely the time. Okay, I am going to just lay down, instead of doing an ombre, I'm going to lay down clusters of color this time. And I'm working off of the colors in here, which are all of them. Definitely every single color. So I'm going to try and I'm going to talk about, while you're answering those questions, Darkholm, I'm going to talk about a book that I read. So this one is Black Moon, graphic speculative flash fiction. And it's by Eugen Bacon and illustrated by Elena Betty. Who is Eugen Bacon? Eugen Bacon is an African-Australian writer of science fiction, poetry, and there's so many things I love about this book, but you can see that the pages, let me just get the glare handled. The pages are actually colored, and the type face is large. There are illustrations on almost every other page. Those illustrations go with the prose poetry that she's got. These stories were creepy. They were creepy, very short, so usually just a page long. It's microlit. And it was really, really cool. Oh, Adrienne, you looked at that too? Yeah, so it was really, really cool to read these stories. A lot of, obviously, as you can see, difficult themes, but this was an absolutely, I just realized that this is not water that his head is in, that he's swimming in. So Black Moon is an illustrated collection of speculative flash fiction interspersed with prose poetry. It carries themes of love and war, life and the afterlife, hope and despair. It is a philosophical assortment that questions normalcy, embraces opposition, and takes a keen interest on peculiarity. It will appeal to curious lovers of literary dark fantasy and all places in between. So I read and enjoyed this collection. I read it very quickly, and it was extremely satisfying. Yeah, so if you like mysterious, thrilling writing that kind of just gets you in and out, and in some cases leaves you wondering what you just read, and allows you to kind of go on a journey but doesn't give you everything, that is definitely what I read and enjoyed. So again, just laying down some clusters of color here for fun, because that's what we do here. We have fun. Okay, so .com, I think you have answered the question. You loved the Wild Seed trilogy. So the Wild Seed, so I think you're talking about the Patterness series from Octavia E. Butler. So you loved that. And the Broken Earth trilogy, N.K. Jemisin. So definitely here for epics led by Black women protagonists. I love vivid world building and evocative writing with revolutionary politics. Okay, come through with the purposeful reading. Okay, so you're talking about series. Okay, epics. Tell me about whether you like and need a series or whether you're good with like a standalone epic. Because if you're interested in, this is actually a writer that I haven't talked about enough, and that is Andrea Hairston. It's way up there, so I can't get up and get it, but I'm looking at her collection. Oops, you know what? Let me just try. Bear with me. Okay, upper body strength needs work. Okay, so here are some books by Andrea Hairston, who I'm reading right now. So there's, okay, the first one I read is Redwood and Wildfire by Andrea Hairston. So it is, where's the, I don't know if there's a synopsis, but okay, so at the turn of the 20th century, minstrel shows transform into vaudeville, which slides into moving pictures. Hunkering together in dark theaters, diverse audiences marvel at flickering images. This dreaming in public becomes common culture and part of what transformed immigrants and native-born into Americans. Redwood, an African-American woman, and Aidan, a Seminole Irish man, journey from Georgia to Chicago, from haunted swampland to a city of the future. They are gifted performers and hoodoo conjurers, struggling to call up the wondrous world they imagine, not just on stage and screen, but on city streets, in front parlors, in wounded hearts. The power of hoodoo is the power of the community that believes in its capacities to heal and determine the course of today and tomorrow. Living in a system stacked against them, Redwood and Aiden's power and talent are torment and joy. Their search for a place to be who they want is an exhilarating, painful, magical adventure. Blues singers, filmmakers, haints, healers, and actors work their mojo for adventure, romance, and magic from Georgia to Chicago. So this is Redwood and Wildfire. And then the cool thing about this, if you're really wanting like an epic experience, there's also these books that are written in the same world. So this is Will Do Magic for Small Change. And here, Cinnamon Jones dreams of stepping on stage and acting her heart out like her famous grandparents. And her grandparents are Redwood and Wildfire. But at 5'10" and 180 pounds, she's theatrically challenged. Her family life is a tangle of mystery and deadly secrets, and nobody is telling Cinnamon the whole truth. Before her older brother died, he gave Cinnamon the Chronicles of the Great Wanderer, a tale of a Dahomean warrior woman and an alien from another dimension who perform in Paris and at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. The chronicle may be magic or alien science, but the story is definitely connected to Cinnamon's family secrets. When an act of violence wounds her family, Cinnamon and her theater squad determine to solve the mysteries and bring their worlds together. So you've got aliens, you've got African ancestry, you've got African American experience, you've got art, so like theater and the cinema, and you have like a mystery. So that's same world. And then the final book is this one, which is it connected to this one? Maybe it's only those two. I think this is actually also connected. But what I would suggest is these two. I feel like there's another one in this world, but Redwood and Wildfire and Will Do Magic for Small Change. But certainly you might want to just get into Andrea Hairston's writing. So this is Lonely Stardust, and this is Mindscape. What I've read from these four is Redwood and Wildfire, but I am reading, okay, it's gonna fall. I'm currently reading Master of Poisons right now by Andrea Hairston. So that's where I am in her bibliography. So I hope that's helpful to you. And I'm gonna put more colors down. Again, there's no rhyme or reason, and I will probably, after laying these colors, I don't know what I'm gonna do after laying these colors down. Let me not pretend like I have an actual plan because I don't have no plan. Yes, so happy to answer any other questions people might have. But let me continue with talking about what you're welcome for getting up. Yes, it's good to have educational lives. And thank you. I appreciate that. I take giving recommendations very seriously because I do consider this channel is intended to be a resource. So it matters to me that I share what I know. So happy to help with that. Absolutely. Good. Enjoy. And then come back and let me know what you think. Okay, the next book that I want to talk about is Victor Laval's Destroyer. So if you have read this, Victor Laval's Destroyer, please let me know what you thought. So I really enjoyed, I just did something that I'm upset about, but that's okay. Yes, so I read Victor Laval's Destroyer last month, I think. I enjoyed it. It is a Frankenstein kind of it's in the Frankenstein kind of world. And what it has done is it has taken the story of, or the idea of Frankenstein, so taking a body without life and animating it with life, and seeing what happens. It's definitely taken that theme, that backdrop, and it has inserted into that theme the experiences of a grieving mother, a grieving Black woman who is a brilliant scientist, whose son was shot, and sort of how she deals with that, and how she, inspired by the Frankenstein story, decides to do things. So that was The Destroyer, and I enjoyed it. I felt like it was a very respectful and responsible meditation on the loss of the lives of young Black men. And I liked having the opportunity to think about that while reading the story. The art was really good. There was a lot of sarcasm in the story as well, which I liked. And I really love stories where you've got a really brilliant Black woman who's outthought everyone, and they know that they've been outthought by her. So that definitely happened in the story, and I enjoyed it. The tech was really cool. So there were there's a lot of really cool tech. There's a lot of cool science. There's political kind of espionage, which was really nice. And I found it compelling and interesting and fun. So that was Destroyer. What I would have, I struggle with Black science fiction and fantasy because unless you have a writer who has made a point of trying to be inclusive in terms of recognizing that there are queer people in the world, unless you have somebody who's done that, it can be very difficult to get stories that acknowledge and recognize that the world is full of people who are queer. And it didn't really take up any of those themes, which is important to me. So that was less than ideal. But I, despite that drawback, I did enjoy it. The other book that I want to talk about is A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. And if you're interested in learning more about Bethany C. Morrow and about the book, I would definitely recommend that you take a look at the interview that we did with her after our book discussion on Solar Powered. It was a really wonderful experience to hear her talk about just how she got to writing, period. And Bethany C. Morrow has a very interesting experience because she grew up in California, and many of the stories, and this is something as a Canadian I didn't really appreciate, but many of the stories about the experience of Black youth are not really written from the perspective of Black young people who grew up in California, right? And certainly, so she talked about her experience. She talked about her desire to acknowledge that there is a diversity in the experience of Black young people, and that their experiences of racism might have looked different because of how they grew up. She talked about being an IB student, which is International Baccalaureate student, and how her experience in that academic program actually allowed her and her sister access to Toni Morrison, which she was reading in high school, and other great Black writers. And it was really interesting to hear her talk about that and how having that experience really shaped her view of what Black writers could do and what kind of accomplishments, how their accomplishments could impact the self-perception of Black students. So anyway, the students, because A Song Below Water, like the main gathering space for the characters is their school and their classroom, right? So one of the themes in the story is using your voice, because in this world there are sirens. There's a whole bunch of magical creatures, and there are these sirens, and they're not supposed to use their voice. And there's this whole like underground network of people who are there to protect these magical creatures and just allow them to live. And then there's a lot of racism because the sirens are predominantly Black women. So there's this whole like conversation about Black women being able to use their voices, Black girls being able to use their voices, being there for each other, sisterhood, and so on. And amidst all of that are these awesome magical characters who just made my heart swell, I have to say. Just joyful, loving characters. So it was a very sweet, fun young adult novel that I would recommend. And the sequel is called A Chorus Rising, and the sequel is actually out. It's up there, over there. A Chorus Rises. It's up there. I am going to read it. Definitely looking forward to that as well. I think, Adrian, if you're still here, you were talking about the book, The Good Luck Girls. So I was wondering if you read and had thoughts of the sequel, Sisters Reckoning. All right, so that is what I would say about A Song Below Water. And then the last book that I want to talk about is The Year I Flew Away. And this is by Marie Arnold. And I would say that this is probably my read for the Readathon. Marie Arnold is Haitian, and this book is about a girl who had to immigrate to, I think she had to go to New York, but definitely she had to go to the US from Haiti. And so we start off seeing her and her friends in their home communities. And she has to go. She has to leave, like many of the, not many of the young people. They didn't all have that opportunity to go, but she had to leave, and she moved to the US, moved to, I believe it was New York, where she moved into an apartment with her cousins, and so two twins, so a set of twins, an older cousin, her aunt, and her uncle. And she has to go to a school, and of course, when she gets to that school, she starts getting bullied, which is obviously a horrible experience for her. And not only does she get bullied, but she also encounters a very not nice witch who is trying to accomplish something bad. I'll just leave it at that. She's trying to accomplish something really bad. And so in this story, we follow the main character as she just tries to one, survive, just make it. She tries to survive, and then she also tries to, accept herself, and she has to try to deal with the fact that she is different and she's viewed as different. And she's experiencing bullying. She has to make friends, which is hard enough to do in middle school, let alone in a different country where you don't speak the language, because she speaks Creole and French, and she does not speak English when she first starts. So, she has to deal with her identity and the consequences of being different. If you've read America Street by E.B. Zaboy, you might find notes of America Street in The Year I Flew Away. What is different about America Street, and not only America Street, but also E.B. Zaboy's, what was the one she wrote about E.B. Zaboy also wrote a story about a girl who immigrated. It might have been, no, it's not America Street. There was another one. No, maybe it was America Street. But I guess this is the second story second sort of middle grade story that I've read about a child who had to immigrate. So that's a theme that I'm liking as well. It's not one that I've read a lot of. Also, an older book that has a similar theme is a book written by Norbese, and at the time her name was Marlene Norbese Phillip. This is a Canadian book, and it's called Harriet's Daughter. And that book tells also an immigration story, but the country of origin is Trinidad. Actually, it's Tobago. So those are some books if you're interested in reading about that. But anyway, The Year I Flew Away was very good. It picked up toward the end. I think that there was, in terms of the writing, I would say that the pace could have been a little bit better. That is a critique. Because at the beginning of the story, there's a lot of how do I describe it? I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but there was something with the pacing that I felt could have been done a little bit better. Because as the action picked up towards the climax of the plot, we got less character development, and it got more plotty, it got more action oriented. And I think we lost a few things. Also, there were a couple of choices that were made about the character that seemed a little bit inconsistent for me. So kind of like personality changes or growth changes that just seemed a little bit off. So I will say that. But overall, I did appreciate the story. I enjoyed it. And I'm going to be reading more from this author, and I would recommend The Year I Flew Away. Okay, so you might be wondering, what is she doing? So I am cutting up the notepad from the, I'm cutting up a page from the notepad from Brittany's Mad Hatter, and I'm the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and I'm just doing whatever I want is basically what I'm doing. Okay. Let's see. No, it wasn't Pride. Nice to see you, Sarah. The book wasn't Pride. It was America Street. But there's another book that's not America Street oh, yes. My Life as an Ice Cream Sandwich. Okay. So from E.B. Zaboy, I have not read Pride. I'm not a Jane Austen anything. So I probably will not read Pride. And also, I don't think Pride is fantastical in any way. I thought it was a contemporary. But it's My Life as an Ice Cream Sandwich by E.B. Zaboy. That is an immigration story as well. And so is America Street. So they're both immigration stories, and I like them both. But the characters are different ages. So My Life as an Ice Cream Sandwich is middle grade, whereas America Street is young adult. And they're both great. They're both great books. But thank you for helping to jog my memory. I'm just sticking these on and just trying to get a bit of a chaotic placement here so that it's different. Okay. So that's my notes page. And let me see. I think those are the 4 books that I wanted to talk about. Yes. I have aspirations of, okay, you know what? Maybe since this is so bright, I'll leave these as they are. These are notes for my reading for the Fuckathon. So I'll fill those in as they get done, and then I will use this as my page. I'm actually going to lay down the stickers first, because I don't want to lose any. I don't want to get caught up in my stamping. One thing that I've learned about the stamping is that once I start stamping, I don't want to stop. Okay. So are you participating in the Fuckathon? And if so, what are you currently reading and how is it filling the prompts? Tell me what you are reading. Oh, thanks. I will tell you that the stamping is actually really therapeutic to do as well. It is a lot. There's a lot of pleasure, a lot of pleasure to be had from stamping, for sure. All right, so I'm probably not going to do much stamping here. I will likely, I'm going to just run one of the washies from Bethany down the center here. Yeah, I think, you know what, Adrian, like, I think that's a good idea. That's what I'll be doing as well. I mean, there's a lot. It's not easy to participate in readathons all the time. It can be, I don't know your reasons for not participating, but it can be challenging. So whatever grace you can give yourself, do it. For sure. I'm actually going to pull this washi tape back because clearly I cannot resist stamping. And I will, if I can. That's the thing about washi tape, yeah. It's pretty good for peeling and then repasting. I just couldn't resist. I am going to I'm gonna stamp down some color here. Probably. Yeah, I just need some more color because I want color on every single page. So there's the tangerine. I'm not going to use any more color. Like, I'm not going to use any more fresh color. I'll just add some things like that. And then probably something random like purple here and there, just to completely mess up things. And then I will lay the tape back down. And I'll also put some white tape on top so that I can write on this when I'm ready. Sarah, I see that you, oops. Oh, I just dropped my washi. My box of washi tape, it's fine. Okay, I'll just leave it for now, but that is one of my notes pages. So that's what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that. That's a notes page. And then that's another one on the side. Okay, so because I know that I'm going to be reading, sorry, just one second. Okay, so I'm right now, this is, you will have seen my little device. So I use this device called a sprocket. I use it because I like taking pictures of what I'm reading and printing them out so that I can use them in my planner and so on. So right now I'm reading Master of Poisons. This is a photo that I took. Can you see? Yeah, this is a photo I took of the book. So I'm going to print that out. And I'm going to use the photo. And while I wait for that to print out, I'm going to grab these stickers. So I got 2 of the same. So my hope was for each of the stickers I got, I would get a page in my reading planner, and then I would reflect on the extent to which the book allowed me to reflect on one of the themes. So this is going to be, this is Master of Poisons. I am going to use green and yellow. One of the things I love about the cover of Master of Poisons is that it lends itself very well to stamping. So that's my sticker. It's got various shades of green and actually no, it's mostly yellow and brown. So I'm going to use yellow and brown. I'm not going to re-wet my stamp. I'm just going to use the color that's already on it. And I'm just going to ombre to gold or orange. I might get some green in there. Oh, that's dry. So I will use more of this tangerine. And some brown. So that's my page for Master of Poisons. I am just looking at this and wondering, I think it definitely fills the prompt for fuck land borders, because in the book there is a council run by men, and they're all making very bad decisions. So Master of Poisons involves a lot of different themes, but one theme is governments and how they respond to climate change. And so I'm intrigued by this because in the chapter that I just read, this council of men, decided that women should play no role in protecting the land and also in thinking about how the ways in which we manage borders and control people's movement and identities, how that can be extremely harmful, how it is extremely harmful. Because there's green in here, I'm also going to just lay down, I'm going to create a border. How ironic is that? So do that here. And this is going to be a notes page for me once I finish Master of Poisons. If this will allow me, yes, it will. I am notorious for laying stickers down and then picking them up again, but I'm going to do that here because I want a cross situation. I think that's straight enough. Anyway, straight is overrated. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's my Master of Poisons page. If you're somebody who reads a lot of books, you will definitely not be able to have a full page for each of your books. I'm also going to, okay, so that's that. I'm going to create a page for my projects. So this page is going to be for my 2 project priorities for this month. They are the Octavia E. Butler's Slow Read, as well as the Readathons book. Actually, no, there's nothing for solar power this month, as far as I remember, I hope. So I'm just going to use one of the stickers from this. So I think we should play with the Mad Hatter, right? I think that's what we should do right now. So I'm going to use this size of the Mad Hatter. And again, I'm going to take a look at the colors. So we've definitely got red, brown, green. And then we've got, I just love Brittany's choice of color. We've got purple, we've got this lime, and then we have a very pale blue. So these are the colors I'm going to use for this page. And Adalcom, get ready for some more therapeutic stamping. Okay, I'm going to start with the lightest colors first. So I'm going to play with blue and lavender. Oh, I love how light this blue is too. Some books, when you read them, they just kind of demand that you slow down And I find that when I read Andrea Hairston's work, it's not something I can read while on a commute or while doing something else. Like I play the chapters over and over again. I just really do it quite slowly. And that's how I'm reading Master of Poisons. And that's why I can take over a month to read one book, frankly. You know what? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to use all these colors now because I'm really just liking how the purple and blue are happening. You know what I might do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this brown down the center. Am I going to do that? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll use the brown down the center. And then I'm going to take the Mad Hatter and put her right there. Which one do I want? I think I'm going to use this one, the second largest. That came off super easily. Yes, I like that. That was a good life choice. Okay, and then, okay, look what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to get rays of color. Hold on, excuse me. I have to get up. I didn't have all my tools right near to me, but there's one more thing I need to do. Excuse me? Okay, so I wanted to pull this, which if you're getting into washi tape and you're not really sure what you want, if you have a store near to you that, or if you can order something like this, I would recommend you do so because it allows you to have a bunch of colors and then it gives you this really handy dispenser. And you can just replace the tape on the dispenser when you need to, but I bought it all together. The dispenser came with these colors. So you don't need to get a bunch of individual washi tape rolls if you are not sure whether you actually like working with the medium. So I'm going to create kind of like little rays of color. That's the plan. Hopefully it'll work. So we know that she's got her bow tie, which is yellow. So I'm going to lay down yellow right here. I like it. I like this. I like where this is headed. And they don't have to be the same size or anything. We are not after perfection today. Okay, so when you said you like her work.com, who do you mean? Which she are we talking about right now? Okay, I'm going to use red. I like this. I like this a lot. And then green? No, that's too light. Purple? No. Blue? Blue. 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 Why not? Okay. Good enough. That's a bit long. I want to create space to encourage me to write. Sometimes when I do something like this, I Actually, that's a little too primary colors, except for the blue. I am going to put something in there to switch it up. I'll probably pull some of the lavender to put another one out. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm not sure if I'm going to have a lot to write, I just use up space with my creativity. There, one, and banging and clanging. Okay. Let's see. Oh. You're reading Everfair. Well, Everfair definitely meets the fuck colonialism prompt. It also meets I think it meets the fuck with polyamory prompt. I think. So it at least meets two. How are you liking it so far? Hope you're enjoying it. Sarah? I feel the same way about Black science fiction authors. So that's awesome. Okay, I'm just going to all right. So that's my this is my to-do list for the OEB readathon, as well as the OEB readathon and the Read a Damn Book reading collab. Okay, I will just write what I need to on top of that. And okay, so that's where I'll write that. And then the next page is the notes page. I think I'm going to make this another I think I'll have this as another reflection page for the fuckathon. I will probably use I think I'm going to use one of the large stickers this time. So this is a very large sticker. It's going to take up most of the page, and I will be okay with that because really, oh wait, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it here. Okay, so I'll leave that down until I get there. So for this one, I don't know what other book I'm going to be reading for the month, but I don't know what I'm going to do for this page. I don't know. I'm going to leave it blank for now. I'm going to put another sticker for Master of because what I've done in the past. Yeah. So Sarah, how far have you reached in Everfair? So as you'll see, this is what it looks like when I've read a book. So I usually just lay down some matching washi tape and then I put the sticker on top. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. For Master of Poisons, I want something yellow and bright. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot that's yellow and bright. So something close. Yeah, it is. I found Everfair, it took me a minute to get through part 1. So if that's where you are right now, I would say you're fine. It takes a minute. It's denser right at the beginning, but yeah, but reading it slowly is a good idea because there's a lot of subtlety in Nisi Shaw's writing, so I would definitely stick with it if you can. So I'm preparing the pages for some books that I've read in July. I'm definitely going to put that right there. And then for the other book that I read, which was After the Rain, I'll get a picture of that and put that up as well. After the Rain. About 5 minutes? Oh, okay. Do you want me to get up? Is that good then? Okay. That's okay. All right, everyone. So then we're going to be cutting it off short here. So what I'm going to do is once I've finished everything, I will put some pictures up so that you can see them on Instagram. And then you can see how everything finished up. So I know we've been on a long time today. Thank you very much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. This hiatus has been something. So it's been nice to just be really playful and chill and to get through everything. So yes, if you want to chat more, meet me in the comments, or you can meet me in Instagram where you'll see some pictures of my planner for this month. Remember to read with purpose, and I'll see you the next time this happens. Bye.